Yeah, cut us on over there. Yeah, maybe my glasses fogged up. Okay, thank everyone for coming today. We're at this time going to call to order our Board of Supervisors meeting for September 30. This time, Mr. Slade, will you give us a word of prayer, please?
Thank you. Let's pray together. Father, as always, we come before you to celebrate the day that you have made. Father, help us to rejoice and be glad in this day. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for these gentlemen who are willing to sacrifice their time, effort, energy toward this to make it so that this county can be all that you have envisioned it to be. Father, I pray that as we consider the business that comes before us today, that we would use the skills and the wisdom, Father, that you have provided to us so that we might do a job that is pleasing to you first and foremost. Father, help us to keep in mind that all of the citizens of the county deserve a government that works for them. And Father, I just pray that they would be pleased for the effort that is being made. Lord, thank you for our men and women who labor so consistently to keep us safe. Father, we are just so thankful. We don't ever want to take that for granted. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. All right, first up we have public comments. Mr. Carl Franco. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're not doing a planning commission?
Just a quick update on a few projects. Courthouse,
He's coming next, I think.
I got an updated list from the contractor yesterday, and I spent about an hour and a half out at the site yesterday, just reviewing some of that. And there's really only a few minor things left to get done, with the exception of they've got an exterior steel stair in the back parking lot, and they've got some security grill that goes on the east and south areas of the lobby to help block out the sun when they're there. Those are really the two last major things to go, but they've still got some minor site issues and a little painting to touch up. But I think they think they're going to be through at the end of next week. I would say I'd say mid-October with every little thing that we know about, unless they have a problem. The problem with the stair and the grill is from the same subcontractor that they've been having issues with for almost a year. But
Just trying to get him to come back.
well, get him to make the issues. They did send me. He said the stairs and the grills were on the truck. They sent pictures of it, so they were supposed to bring them here today, and they're gonna. The general contractor is going to supplement the subs forces to make sure it gets done. So, yeah, I don't know the exact story, Jay, but basically that's it. I don't know whether the subs having some financial issues or what the deal is. But that's really the major item left to get done. And he has some railing to do. It's all the same subcontractor. The rest of them, 99% of the interior paint has been done. I looked through there yesterday. There's a couple little areas that they missed that they need to get. There's some cleaning that still needs to be done. They've got to redo the floor in the holding cells. They've never finished that, which is just concrete, but it's stained, and they need to get it coated. I'm not sure if they've got the glass in the large justice courtroom where the prisoner testify is supposed to be a special type glass. They had trouble getting that, so what they have in there right now is temporary. I don't think it's finalized. My guys are there this morning. They've been having some issues with the lights timing out, and so the contractor had to get the Lutron, the supplier from Atlanta, to come over. He's there this morning. My guys are there, and electrical engineers there to make sure that gets fixed. But for the most part, as far as I can tell, I talked to David at the Chancery and Jessica at the Justice. There's no major items that they were aware of, but it's still these small things. Some ceiling tile has to be replaced, things like that. That's aggravating, for sure.
What about the locks?
What? The
Locks.
are they having problems with the locks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was an issue on the card swipes, and
I hadn't heard that.
I know Judge Roberts had an issue on going in and out the back of his courtroom.
Yeah, now that's
And that was locking on one side of the door, not locking on the
Well,
other side
that's
of the
a whole
door?
nother issue. That's a code issue, and to just kind of explain the situation, that door was never designed to lock from the inside. And the reason for that is because the code requires in those courtrooms that they have 2 remote means of egress. So one of them, in case of a fire or emergency, or somebody walks in with a gun,
Well, I think there's some variables on that side of the code.
there may be, as you know,
Right.
Daniel, code's open, it's like the law, it's open
That's
to
right.
interpretation and
Yeah,
opinion.
that's exactly right.
So
And it's also kind of based up, to the city of Brandon's regs on that, how that falls. on
That's
that
right.
same
So
point,
they,
but-
and they can, the city of Brandon's authority having jurisdiction, so they can override that, and if that's up to
Yeah,
them.
because we got a magical catch-all that's in the codes. Obviously, it's out there, right?
Yeah.
For safety, security, those type of things like that. That bypasses a lot of that. And then you got a sprinkler building, and you go
Right.
to your occupancy load and all that kind of stuff like that. But there's some variances in that I hope we look at in regards to that.
Well, if they can, if
I don't
the,
believe we need the second age. It's my personal opinion.
if
but
that's,
we need to
if
look
the
at it.
city
and see.
signs off on that, or whoever the authority having jurisdiction is, and that's certainly
Absolutely.
acceptable.
Yep.
That's the only thing I know. Now, I did check a couple of doors yesterday, not just that they still, and it wasn't that they need to adjust the tension on them. The closers on some of these bathroom doors, they're supposed to be a certain pressure that's not too strong for the ADA, and I think a couple of them are too strong still, and I wrote that up.
What about the door at Larry's office? You seen that? Somebody's big welding hole's been cut into it and everything else. You seen that on the door frame?
Mm-mm.
Where they put it on backwards.
I think they put, yeah.
No, oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yes, they've got to fix that.
When do they come back for that? Do you know?
Art?
Well, they're supposed to be coming back soon.
Soon.
And then there was 2 cameras, exterior cameras, Sheriff, that were blurry. And I don't know that, I wrote that down yesterday, that apparently they've been out there before. Water got into it or something, I don't know.
But on Larry's door, do you think they're coming back this week? Well,
Yeah,
today's-
well,
today's
I'll
Wednesday.
find out, Daniel. To be honest, I don't know, but
Okay.
it's on the list to be corrected.
Okay.
I'll check it out and see. And we still got, whenever they get through, they say they get through, we still got to spend a couple of days going back to their, checking their list just to make sure. And I'm sure that we'll find something that was not corrected to the way we think it needs to be.
Check.
So that-
Look at Slack.
That's where we're at. There is one other thing that's come up. The city of Brandon, we've got to add 12 signs for emergency egress. And what they are, the little floor plans that show you stand here, this is how you get out. That came up a few weeks ago. So,
What about the gate? Is there a problem with the gate? I know one of the judges texted me last week that the gate's still not working.
they've got them, what the contractor sent me yesterday said they've got them all working and that they all are, they didn't have the access control pinned down. So I have not checked that. I'll check it, but they sent me a list saying they had gotten that done.
All right.
Hey,
So that's-
Mr. Carl, on the, getting off the building, but on North Street, I know they're pouring the curb
Mhm.
right now. They are gonna do the base repair before we come in.
Yeah, they've got, I can't remember, Brad, if they had to put up a bond or whatever it was, but anything that they repair, that they tore up during construction, they have to bring it back to that condition. Now, it wasn't always in the best condition when it started, so I don't know exactly where that's gonna be going. I'm sure that the city of Brandon's gonna have some say-so on that, or at least some comments. So we'll just have to get that done, but that's part of their responsibility. Anything that can be identified as being damaged during construction, they will have to bring back to the original condition. But we got out there, we took pictures prior to them starting construction. I know the contractor did, so we could kind of have a baseline to go from.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's going to be some discussion on exactly what status and what condition that has to be brought back to.
Okay.
That's something that will have to be finalized also.
Tim, can you,
Carl, what he's talking about is actually where, mainly on North Street, I think on Tamron a little bit too, where the new curb was poured, it's actually widened out a little bit, and there's a little edge there between the new curb and the asphalt that they've got crushed stone in now. But actually on the civil plan, it shows putting 6 inches of asphalt in there.
Okay.
It's just a small.
Well, I know that the civil had about a dozen items on their punch list, so I'm sure that's probably on there. It'll have to be done.
Did you, go check out all those dead plants?
Yes,
So they're replacing them?
they're replacing, that was on the landscape punch list. They're replacing the ones that we identified were dead, and they've got to maintain, and they had to maintain them or when they installed them, they had to be in a fresh condition, and some of them weren't. Some of them may not have been exactly dead, but we interpreted the specs as saying, it didn't matter. They had to be green,
Yeah. Okay,
so.
all right. Y'all wanna discuss the courthouse?
Discuss
Chancery,
it.
remodeling?
Oh, okay, right, just one, yeah,
I mean, we need to get moving on if we're gonna do it.
right.
What y'all decide to do when you went up there, what y'all wanna cut out, or, I think
I think we've
I was
worked
on the
out
bottom. We were gonna leave the bottom as was and just make, adjustments from what we have.
I think something had to do, and also what did we decide, some of it was kind of pending on, wasn't it, the coroner too?
Well, I think we got that situation resolved with the other 3 mortuaries to,
Yeah, I know, but I mean, so some of that change had to do with him, so what, we just gonna leave
The
that?
upstairs was, I mean, we could move them downstairs
No, I'm just
and
saying,
then not have to worry about remodeling that part upstairs. Oh, there's plenty of room downstairs for him and the election commissioners.
yeah. No, that's what I'm saying, I'm not sure what we, just gotta factor that part in, whether he's in there or out.
Well, what y'all wanna do?
That's what, yeah.
Well, we can sit down, when the board makes, I guess we just kind of need a little direction. We can sit down with the coroner or whoever, if he's gonna be moved from upstairs to downstairs and carve out spaces downstairs. But you're absolutely right, Jay. The original concept was to pretty much leave the downstairs as it was. But we've
I
gotten,
don't see why we could.
Well, I mean, we went over and looked at it the other day, and there's offices galore in there and plenty of storage space to do everything that the election commissioners want as far as storing their equipment. And the whole other side of the building could be taken up with a couple other offices too. But I know all the ones upstairs are tied to something, all doing with community development or, the health department, 911 addressing, all those make sense to be there.
Except the old courtroom, I think.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what to do
the,
with it now.
Judge Grant's former
Yeah.
courtroom was basically
Just
gonna
a
be
big
left
room.
as it was.
Right.
But now, when we were putting the coroner up there, we cut into that to add some storage for body bags and and add an office for for the deputy coroner.
Well, if we put him downstairs, would it be possible if we don't do modifications to his back corner? That should save us quite a bit of
You
money.
talking about on the upstairs?
Yeah,
Yeah, right, and we looked at that too, and you're right. I think we were just looking at it as, what are we gonna do with this room?
Right,
Because it's still got all the woodwork and
right, it's got,
the courtroom set up, so what to do with it? And the other way to look at it too was, if you're gonna do something with it later, I don't know what the cost would be to come back in there and redo something to it later.
we do have some folks in our building department, they should be able to do
Well,
something.
that's what we
You
were
know?
talking about, but that was the only thing, is this is a big room, and what, I think Steve, you and I were talking about it, don't really know what to do with it at this point.
well, you're right, you make a good point. If you're going to do something with it, it would generally cost less to do it all at one time, because the overhead is already there. But, if you can do it with your own county forces, obviously, if we don't do anything to it, that cuts out some money there too. That's,
If you just tore out the stuff inside, you still got all the wood down the walls and all that kind of stuff.
right.
the sheetrock or whatever.
I guess the question would be, should he move forward, should Carl move forward with a plan that puts the coroner downstairs and eliminate the coroner renovation work upstairs and let that be our working plan at the moment, and then have his conversations with the coroner and find out what do we need to do downstairs to best accommodate that? That's kind of.
That'll work out, I don't know why it wouldn't.
I mean, it's plenty of room downstairs to house
It is.
the election commission in the corner.
And you got that big room, the old courtroom.
storage and
Mhm.
everything.
I think the only question was, what are you gonna do with, like I said, if we're gonna have a big room up there that, and you're right, Jay, we can make it do something with some of our own forces, but at some point, that's the only thing I could see is, if you were gonna have to have something major done, it's gonna cost a whole lot more for them to come in and do that one little piece once the rest of it's done, but, I mean, I see what you're saying.
Carl, how long do you think lumber price will be where we are?
Yeah, good
It's
question.
up high, but we were probably going with metal studs anyhow at the rate lumber prices are, because residential is going crazy. And of course, I don't know how much the past tariff on this Canadian wood affects it, but I don't know that I can give you an accurate answer. It's just everything, those kind of things are up right now, Jay, the cost of that. So I don't know that I can tell you exactly when those prices are gonna change.
A lot of people wanna know, because I know a lot of houses have been put on hold a little bit, hoping them to go down.
Yeah.
You don't think the Lake Charles had a major impact on that?
It did have an impact on it, and I think the elections are gonna have an impact on stuff, whether we like it or not, but, yes,
So
it
should we
did.
put off doing this until after November?
We can,
Materials?
we certainly can. I mean, it's up to y'all to
That's not a
schedule.
bad idea.
Materials unreal right now.
Yeah, they are, and
Some stuff's gone up 3 times.
materials have gone up, and I was trying to identify the labor market, because I get mixed messages on that. Some people are looking for work, but if you wanted to put it off till bidding it till after November, or after the elections, that, I can't honestly tell you whether that's gonna affect the prices or not. People tell us it is, I don't know.
Well, you can go ahead and be getting up the bid specs and everything.
Yeah, we can finish
I
that.
really think we could get some, general contractors come in and do this. House builders could do this kind of work.
Yeah, there's some people who we've used before. I know one in particular did renovation at the circuit court a few years ago. This Rankin County resident, and he had a good price. This is gonna be fairly small type contractors that would be interested in this, I think. But I know there's some medium-sized contractors that call me looking for stuff. So, but materials have gone up.
Y'all good with settling them just to get it all rode up and get it ready?
Yeah, we're good.
So, and I can sit down and we'll get with Laura and Craig, but it sounds like that you're looking at having the coroner downstairs and maybe on the election commission just using existing offices. Is that what we're talking about instead of? Okay, well, we'll just schedule another
I mean, they
meeting.
just need, we like, where all that, the pictures and stuff on, that kind of stuff fixed. Paint jobs on.
Well, it should be upstairs. It wouldn't be
I
from
mean, they're just little tack holes mostly.
Yeah, what happens to us, Jared, as you know, and Dan just mentioned, though, we get into doing some stuff and then we have to deal with the city and then codes and stuff. And so we've kind of put off going back to them yet until we got a final plan.
That's it, those 4.
But that may be something we may need y'all's help on.
as long as, we just supposed to make us with the corner. If the day
All right.
goes out,
Anything else?
I just want to stay where I'm at. I'm good with it.
Okay. Thank you.
We would have to remodel all that.
Mhm.
So, if he is, then, I ain't gonna die on my sword on it, Okay, I guess, I'm gonna go back to, good thing I'm running out of my presidency here. I'm getting a little sloppy. Guess we're gonna call our planning commission, to order now. This time, we need to, have any old minutes to approve? September 3rd minutes? Anybody wanna make a
I
motion?
make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Alright.
All right, so under old business, there are 4 hearings scheduled for Monday. Do y'all want to review any of those, or are we good?
Have we went over these at all?
We have.
Mhm.
Okay.
I've got the pictures though, if y'all want to see, or,
I can wait,
okay.
unless y'all wanna go over them.
No.
I got 2. I say set 'em.
So that hearing will be Monday on all of those
All right.
4. Let me get my pictures. the pictures. Okay, so the first item today under new considerations is a conditional use permit for Grady Keith Allen at 280 Oakdale Road. This property is located on the south side of Oakdale Road. Mr. Allen is seeking the conditional use permit to expand the existing rental property on Oakdale Road. That's an aerial view of that property. And this is his site plan. The area of expansion is going to encompass 4 acres of a 39-acre parcel. The parcel is zoned RE1. So this is his existing storage area here. He also has some buildings along Oakdale Road here, and these are the 2 new buildings that he's proposing. The additional storage buildings will be used to provide covered parking spaces for campers, motorhomes, boats, etc. Both of the buildings will be 252 by 40 feet, which is 10,080 square feet. The first building here is going to be along the road here, parallel to Oakdale Road. The back of the building will be enclosed. It will have a tin exterior. The front will be open. The second building will have an open, the front and the back will be open. The Allens are here today if y'all have any questions for them.
Y'all want me to ask them to step in?
Well, is this the same people that were putting campers out there before?
At one time, yes, sir.
So, are they through doing that?
They are. They can store them there, but they, before they were letting people live
They
in
were
them there.
renting, yeah.
And they're not doing that anymore. They're just letting people store them there. This is the new area here where the slag is. You can see it. And then these are just views of that property where he has the existing storage, the rental.
I think all you're gonna do is to set a hearing if you're gonna be willing to do that, but Mr. Allen is here if you have any questions that you'd like to raise at this point.
I'd just like to see some brick on whatever's gonna be in Oakdale.
Up there at Baker Lane, and 471, when we had a guy that come in and we required all that, to be upgraded and more commercial looking buildings than 10 buildings. And I think we ought to move toward that.
How far off the road is this?
It's going to be right on the road. He'll meet the setback
right on
there, which is 40 feet.
Right on, Oakdale?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Oakdale. It's gotten, see that?
I was looking, this is where it's going to be in that
Pictures taken.
slag
standing on
area
Oakdale.
right there.
Okay.
The buildings or what they look like.
Who does the camera? Who takes the pictures? We didn't send you class, man. You took better, winds or something.
Making fun of my $89 camera.
That he's had for many years, because we're frugal.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe the
Y'all wanna bring them in and ask them anything, or?
I think that might be good if you want to see a different exterior on the building than 10.
Well, I can think of a couple of things that probably
Tell
are
me what brick.
on your minds, which is exactly what sort of traffic, who are the folks that are up and down through there, and the visibility and the sight lines, and maybe it's time to start thinking about required screening.
Yeah.
That type of thing could be helpful.
Because that one picture you showed us, it doesn't look very attractive. What road is this right here?
Oakdale.
Oakdale.
Oh, yeah, so we need to get some kind of screening for
Yeah,
sure right
that's-
there.
How long has it been there?
That's existing.
Been getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Been there a long time though?
He had started before zoning was adopted,
Oh, been a while.
or
Yeah.
right around that time. He already had some existing buildings.
This may be the time.
The
for
last
these-
time he was told he's gonna have to do these things, and I went and met with him and relaxed. He promised me that those were the 2 last ones he was gonna do, and that was about 3 years ago. This is it. And, well, here we are again.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yep.
It's been 2 sets since
yeah.
on that.
This may be the time to consider things like a minimum amount of buffer away from a public road. This may be the time to also introduce vegetated screening or some other type of screening, to help with some of the sight lines. Oddly enough, I think the orientation of the proposed building may be helpful in blocking some of that that's beyond from
Back
sight.
up, back up one.
Right.
That view right there.
That view right there.
We need to block that view right there.
Could potentially be helped by what you do with the building, so we can keep that in mind.
Where are you standing when you took that?
On Oakdale.
Okay.
So you have the option of asking Mr. Allen to come in so you can communicate this now, or you can rely on Renee and Wayne to communicate it. It's your pleasure. He's here.
Send them on in.
Okay.
Is this the one, Steve, that got cows and all?
Got a few, yeah.
I know where you is. You drive,
Go
turn
down,
off.
turn off 471 at the vet place.
Uh-huh.
Just go straight
I
back.
don't know where
Pass.
you
Turn
go.
off and drive in, it's almost in by his little like house to get into some of it.
Yeah, it weaves back in there.
Yeah, I
once you
moved
turn
the
on
boat.
What's
Don't y'all
wrong
have a
with
zoo down there or something? Isn't there a zoo down there?
I don't think we got a
Baker
zoo.
Lane?
It's not really off Baker Lane.
Oh,
It's
okay.
more off Oakdale.
Yeah.
When you, I mean,
Oh, you talking about in a house?
I thought you'd been serious.
I am.
He is.
Yourself and your address, please.
Good morning.
My name's Grady Keith Allen. I live at 280 Oakdale Road, Brandon.
We were going over what you're wanting to put in here, and, I had some conditions that I'd like to be enforced here. You know, that whole area is growing, as you well know, and, we need to try to, as we do these new advancements, we need to increase our, appearance as far as doing some vegetation, landscaping. We need to get either some screening with a new fence with some nice dark screening to block out some of that. And even on the new buildings that you're gonna build, that's gonna be facing Oakdale, we wanna get brick on that side of the road, rather than just having metal buildings out there.
He would be facing away from Oakdale.
Yes, sir, but the building's gonna be seeable from Oakdale. And all the other developments we're requiring out there are having to do the same thing as you. We're asking everyone to do the same thing. You know, we, at this time, you know, we're running out of area, and we have this opportunity to make our county look as good as it can. So, we'd ask you to help us with that.
Really, the board's purpose of asking to come in, since this is all preliminary, the board has not yet acted, but the next action that they will take will just be to set this for a public hearing. So they're communicating to you what they intend to establish as conditions at the hearing that will be later, okay? So we're giving you a heads up so that you're aware of that. And if that is not something that you believe that is efficient or effective or useful for you to do, now is the time for you to withdraw your application. If you're not going to be able to commit to bricking and vegetative screening and upgrading your fences and all of that, if you're not going to be able to do that financially, now would be the time to tell the board that.
Well, I've been trying to talk to him about putting a fence down through there, but from the road back about 6 foot high. She said, I believe she said it was, I wanted to go 9 foot to just cover the buildings with a fence, but,
You're talking about the new buildings you want to put up?
yeah.
I was really referring to the
Back up,
existing
Miss
ones.
Renee, or,
Back up one camera. That right there.
The entire site is what the board is speaking
You know,
about.
That's Oakdale Road you're sitting on there. It'd be nice if we could get some type of, screening to go along the property that's viewable from Oakdale Road. So, it'll make your place look a lot better too.
Yeah, I understand. It's gonna be hard to cover that up, some of it.
Well, I think looks like you have, corrugated, fence there, so you probably just got to get by with just getting the screening put up.
cyclone fence.
Cyclone.
Cyclone front.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the corrugated.
That's the metal on that building.
Cyclone.
You want it all the way down the road.
That's what he said.
Now, you know, that's my thoughts
Well,
on
they
it.
got that plastic now that you
the board is indicating to you ahead of time that right now their position is, we want your entire property to be better screened so that Oakdale Road, people passing along Oakdale Road are not confronted with this site right here, right? So that's what they're telegraphing to you.
Okay.
So that would be a condition to allowing you to do any additional construction, any new development. A condition would be that we're gonna screen the entirety of your property along Oakdale. We're gonna do what we can to better screen that.
From the drive-in, or from the drive-in down the road.
I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
the property.
that's-
Help me. Is
Yeah.
that
That's
correct?
about
About where
right.
I mean,
that tank,
he has-
white tank is the entrance.
This way
That's the
back,
entrance right there off the road.
and then you go back toward where the new spot will be.
Yeah, so here's the point. You're asking the board for permission to do some additional development. They're gonna take advantage of an opportunity to improve all of it, right? If you don't want to do additional development, they're not gonna make you screen any of that. So this is your choice, and they're trying to telegraph that to you ahead of time. So the next thing for you guys to do, unless you have other questions, would be for a motion to set it for public hearing, if you're of a mind to do that. And that would be set for the 15th of October.
Okay, I'll make the motion, set it with everything understood, what Jay and the rest of the board have communicated.
All right, have a motion?
Second.
Second, by Daniel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Allen.
Appreciate you.
They'll have the hearing on the 15th of October at 9 o'clock.
See you then. Thank y'all.
All right, so the next item is a conditional use permit for Colby Warren at 2959 Cato Road. This property is located on the east side of Cato Road at the county line. That's an aerial view of the property. Mr. Warren is seeking the conditional use permit to operate a gun shop in an existing building on this property. His grandfather owns this property. It's a 76-acre parcel. It's zoned A2. And this is the existing building. It's a 12 by 16 where the gun shop will be. His grandfather's house is here on the way in on that circle drive. That's a picture of the existing building. And these are surrounding properties. That's his grandfather's house. He's proposing hours of operation as Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. The gun shop will be used for buying, selling, and repair of guns. And he has applied for his ATF permit. These are surrounding properties in that area.
Of course, the building's gonna have to be up to code.
You back to the building?
Uh-huh. Yes, the building will have to be up to code. He knows he has to have a ADA parking space and ADA accessible bathroom.
Looks like a shack.
I mean, it's a 16 by what?
12 by
12.
16.
That's a little office.
It's gonna be hard to get much in there.
Really?
Once you get this bathroom in.
Yeah, that's gonna be half the building. You might be storing your equipment in the
Because
bathroom.
the bathroom ADA had to be what, 5 by 5?
It's gonna be probably 8 by 8, Renee?
6 by 8.
6 by 8?
Holy cow.
That's
Half the building.
one end of the house.
You may have to add on.
I mean, we can set the hearing, but I mean, he might have to back up and punt on
Does
this
he
one.
know?
He does.
He's aware of what has to be done?
Right, because I wanted to make sure he understood that before he went forward. And
Is there, was that lived in at one time or something, or was that just a shed?
It's just more or less a shed.
So they probably don't even have water to it then.
Well, that was one of the things he
I don't
mentioned.
know, it's got a light out front. I
But he
don't
said
know if I
he,
lived in that one
he,
time.
he didn't seem to think that it did. He
The
wanted to
light
get
at
with
the
his
door and
grandfather and make
everything.
sure,
Barn.
but he called me back and said he did want to proceed, so.
That's gonna be an awful lot to do.
I bet somebody lived in that once, that light at the door and all.
No, you just said they don't have water to it.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Oh. Hmm.
Well,
Okay.
Let's set the hearing for the 15th, and maybe he'll show up and can.
Got a
maybe
motion by Brad, set the hearing.
Exactly.
Second by Jared, all in favor say aye. Ayes have it. All right.
Okay, so the next item is a site plan architectural review for Robbie's Fireworks on Highway 469.
Gentlemen, we have at least 3 folks out there who've indicated their intention to be a part of this architectural review. If you will allow me to go get them before we get going.
What's your pass? You need to hide things. Give me one this year. I don't want it. I've never used it in all these years. I'm sure I got one like this. Do what?
I think I'm in this magazine.
Oh, from giving an address.
Yep. Somebody told me I was, I haven't seen it.
Hey, guys. We have Jason Canterbury, who's with Joe Deaton's law firm.
Morning.
Mr. Covington, and also a Mr. Woolridge, Daniel Woolridge. Jim, are you here on this matter? All right.
I thought that was you. I couldn't tell with the face mask.
That's what I'm saying, I can't go who they are.
Yeah, so where we are on this, gentlemen, this is architectural review. This is an administrative function. It's simply, there's really not a place, unless the board is of a mind, to receive any comments with respect to this matter. Since it is administrative in nature, the board's already indicated that there's no intention or no need for any additional board action on this. So this is really just a plan review that is typically handled through Renee's office. You guys are given an opportunity through your planning commission function to address any concerns that Renee may raise with respect to architectural review, but this is really not a forum for a discussion about whether or not. If any of the attendees have questions or comments as it relates to architectural or plan review, they're welcome to make those comments as long as the board is of a mind to hear them.
So would this might be the time for me to ask why they didn't come to do this years ago?
As far as
Putting a building up?
expansion,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yes, sir, absolutely. You have the discretion to ask
I
any
mean,
question you wish.
If it was, if it's, you know, something to do now, and it's been there for years and years, why haven't you done it, you know, 20 years ago?
Financing.
I can
You
answer
gotta get
that.
the money.
Actually, I think, Steve, I have that problem sometimes, Jay. There's a lot of things I wanna do.
Okay.
So with Mr. Bishop, if you want to continue along that discussion line, we may need to ask Mr. Covington to come forward to address the questions. Otherwise, Ms. Renee can go forward with her.
Please go right ahead.
All right, so this property is located on the west side of Highway 469 behind the Outpost Convenience Store. That's an aerial view of that property. Robert and Sherry Covington own a .79 acre parcel that's on C2. The Covingtons are proposing construction of a 5,000 square foot metal building. The building will be used 2 times a year for the sale of fireworks during the time permitted by state law. And the building's here. It's a 5,000 square foot metal building. The building will have a brick exterior on all 4 sides, and it will be fully sprinklered. The site plan shows that the parking lot will be concrete. And you can see the parking spaces. There are 27 spaces shown there. Zoning required them to have 23, so they exceeded that. These are the elevations of that building. Like I said, it's going to be all brick. That's just a floor plan showing the shelving and bathroom and office area. And then this is the actual property. You can see the pad there.
Yeah.
And
then these are surrounding properties on 469.
Where's the gas station?
It's right there.
Isn't it like
Yes.
where the
It
fence
sits-
usually at?
That's right. Mhm.
The only thing we're waiting on is the hydraulics.
Right, we haven't received a drainage plan, so if you are of the mind to approve it today, we would need to do that contingent upon Mr. Parker's approval of that drainage plan.
So they have adequate parking where they're going?
They do. Like I
More
said,
than
zoning would have
required.
required 23, and they have 27. Now, the architect's here today, along with Mr. Covington. I thought that maybe he brought colors of materials, I don't know. You didn't? Okay. Well, anyway, I think it was gonna be two different bricks, colors.
Different color brick, the primary brick is kind of a reddish, brownish type of brick.
Come on. Yes. If you'll give your name and address, please.
I'm Daniel Wooldridge. My address is 464 Church Road in Madison. I'm the architect for Mr. Covington's project. It is an all-brick building. It's a pre-engineered metal structure building, but the exterior is all brick. We got two different colored bricks, as she was saying. The primary brick's kind of a reddish brownish standard type brick, and then the entry, the taller area on the corner, is a whitish, lighter colored brick, just to help the entry area to kind of stand out from the rest of the building. We have storefront glass windows that look in at the entry and the doors. We do have a roll-up door on the north elevation for deliveries. And we do have one door on the back that's a fire escape. All these doors and storefront will be of a bronze color, match with the brick.
Got adequate water there to sprinkle the building, right?
Yes, sir. Water's across the street. We will bore under the street to get the water to us. Civil engineer has finished, but I just have not got you a copy of it yet. I'll have one tomorrow. Yeah, we will sprinkle the building. We're going to bring, I think, a 6-inch line into the building for sprinkling, and an 1.5-inch line, I think, in for domestic water. The roof is a single slope roof. It'll slope to the back of the building, away from the street. We'll catch all that in a gutter, bring it in downspout, down to the ground level to drain off.
I have no further questions.
I don't have any.
Good looking building.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can make a note, this is just site review.
Yeah, so y'all can approve the architectural site plan review as presented by your staff. That would be the next action that the board would take.
Correct.
Contingent.
Yeah, does the board president and the board wish to hear from Mr. Bobo on this matter?
Come on up, Mr. Bobo.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I got a couple of hats. Mike Akers couldn't be here. He's taking his mama to the doctor. He represents the storage people, and they were concerned about the drainage, and I wanted to give you a letter he's written. I'll report to him that y'all are going to approve it, subject to prior approval of the drainage.
Yes.
And he can get in touch with Craig and make sure. But if you could accept that in the record, I'd appreciate it.
All right.
And then I represent the folks that own the outpost and some other people. I'm going to hand you some petitions that they've signed. I'm going to ask that be made part of the record. Is it so made part of the record, Mr. President?
Yep.
All right. Well, they, under the terms of the architectural control ordinance, there's one of the factors is general welfare. And they've got concerns about having a fireworks business so close to the gas station. And then the neighboring people are concerned too. When you look at their petitions, you'll see that they've put it in terms of general welfare. Then I'd also observe that the Covingtons wouldn't be served by spending a lot of money on a building that they can't use for what they want to use it for. And so those would be my comments. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
There is a fireworks operation there now, isn't it?
It's been
correct.
on for how many years there?
It's a vacant lot with a concrete pad on
So they don't sell fireworks there during the fireworks seasons?
it. I have no personal knowledge of that.
I think they do.
They've
Yes.
been selling fireworks there for.
I mean, if they hadn't been selling
I
fireworks, they
think you
wouldn't
know,
be
I think you
grandfathered
do
in.
know they have been.
Big tent and everything there.
Yeah.
Instead of fireworks,
They-
they're on how
Yeah,
long?
well, your zoning ordinance, so at first, under Mississippi law, fireworks are not something that's grandfathered under zoning. Y'all's zoning ordinance says that if it was a previous use, that if it's discontinued for 30 days, you can't do it. It's lost its grandfather status. So the seasons really don't matter under your zoning code. The other thing is, under your zoning code, the listed special exceptions for that zoning do not include fireworks. Those are my observations.
Well, I'm not attorney, but we'll let ours
Yeah.
speak. And see
Right, well,
what they
actually,
bring.
this isn't the forum to go over
This
what
isn't
our interpretation of our own ordinance is anyway. And it's obvious to me that what's being set up here is the potential for some sort of action, some sort of appeal action at the circuit court. So we can address all the issues as it relates to the interpretation of your ordinance. You're favored under the law with the discretion as a board. You sit as a judiciary, by the way, when you interpret your own ordinances. You're favored with the discretion to interpret your ordinances how you wish. Thankfully, courts defer to the wisdom of boards of supervisors to interpret their own ordinances, so I feel real strongly that a circuit court is going to see it the way that we have as well. The truth of the matter is that you guys acted on this officially on the 15th of September. You had before you an opportunity at that time to determine whether or not you see this as a continuation of a legitimate non-conforming use under your ordinance. You made that decision on the 15th. In fact, you interpreted it as such and instructed Ms. Renee's office to proceed at that point with the review under architectural control. And so your decision's already been made. It was made on the 15th of September. Okay? So this is not a deliberation as such, because you're not sitting as a Board of Supervisors. You've already done that. You did that on the 15th. You're deliberating under your architectural review ordinance portion of, as a planning commission, and you have the authority vested by the board now as a planning commission to determine whether or not you wish to proceed with the architectural review as presented. So that would be your next action.
Thank you, Mr.
That's all I
Bud.
have. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion to adopt or approve the plan as presented with the exceptions of the approval of drainage?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Brad, second by Jared. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it. Okay. Nuisance hearings.
Yes.
Thank you.
Looks like we've got six nuisance
Got
hearings.
a lot of ones down here. Hey, I see a four. A four.
First one, that's the
It is.
rural attorney for then he was working for John Shirley.
That's another four.
He quit with John Shirley. He was
Hey, was that who that was?
I was surprised he was in here.
That's where the name was there. I couldn't put it together.
Yeah, you know, after that Carl, he went to work for the secretary, the chief attorney general's office.
Mr. President, the first item under nuisance property hearings is the Donald Hester nuisance property at 225 West Petros Road. This is District 1 property. Mr. Hester is present, I believe. At this time, we'll open that public hearing. I'll give Renee an opportunity to demonstrate with the photos. Mr. Hester can come forward and be prepared to give an account. We need name and address.
All right, so we've received multiple complaints on this property. For a while, these pictures were taken January of 2020, showing the condition of the property at that time. The complaints were about inoperable vehicles, rubbish and debris, and storage buildings that were being built with pallets.
And just plain old generally just looking unsightly.
All right, and these were the new pictures that were taken on the 29th. The property has been improved. That's it.
Go back to those original ones. That stuff there, where is all that at now?
It's all gone?
It's all gone.
All the
Okay.
pictures gone, yeah. Yeah, look like you straightened it up, looks neat, a lot neater. You all come up, so we can hear you. Yeah, just give your name and address.
Dedman, is this yours?
Yeah, this is my property.
I thought
Stephen
it belonged to
Dedman.
him.
Well, it does belong to him, but I got a 10-year lease on it, and I'm the one doing all the
Oh.
improvements to it.
Oh, so you're
This
leasing
was-
all of it?
This was the end game that we were looking for. It just took us a while to get there. As you can see, the mud and stuff I had to deal with when I first went in there.
Right.
So.
How long you been there, Dedman?
I've been there since January.
You're just now transforming it into kind of what you want then?
Right. It's just now coming into what we wanted it to be.
What's the rest of your plan for it, for any building and stuff?
Buildings,
Well, I say buildings or building. I
just
know you
some,
got-
just some open structures for like hay to send under.
Just
you
a
know,
farm.
Horses
Right.
to stand under or whatever.
Right.
A little more fencing to make them a run in so they can come straight into the barn. And then
What are you doing with it? I mean, what?
just animals. I have a goat, a cow, 5 horses, and 9 cats.
Do you take rescues?
I do.
We can drop off a few there?
If we get overpopulated, can we bring some?
I don't mind bringing them
Dedman
back
don't
up.
care. He's at the fire station all the time.
I'll bring them back up to par and get rid of them. Yeah, that's what I do typically. But I have the 5 now that I keep that are mine, the
Yeah.
horses. And then the cow, it's a little bull and a goat. I just got those because they were cute. Something else to feed.
You know, I mean, you're right there, right by everybody's houses, you know, and I'm sure if this was by your house, you wouldn't want it like that, you know.
The way it was, I can completely understand what the problem was. You know, it was just, we were battling the mud, battling the work that I have to do, the time at the fire station, just back and forth. The pallets things was a great idea, but it didn't really, it turned out great after I got it done. But during the process, it was horrendous.
Yeah.
You know, and I
There was a
agree.
lot of question about what's he doing with all these pallets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That sounds like building a fence.
they built a really great structure for the animals. It gives some good, you know, ventilation and also insulation whenever it gets cold. The wind don't just blow through it, but the vapors just kind of flow right through, so.
So you're not talking about adding too many more animals?
No.
The only reason I'm saying that somebody be complaining about.
That's more to feed.
odor.
I'm done with feeding.
So what
Okay.
about that pad that's out there?
Which
What
pad?
Well, there was a pad that looked like it was getting ready to put something out
That's
there.
that's what those 2 lean-tos are built on.
That's further
They're built-
down, Jay, further
Well,
down the
there's a-
curve.
Yeah, there's
What you're
another.
talking about, yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
further down. than
Mr. Hester has built something else for himself on down in the curve, but that don't have anything to do with what I'm doing.
Okay.
I only extend about 120 feet past the end of that privacy fence right there.
Okay.
With a little pen for my goat bull. And then back on the other side of that first storage building, there's pasture there for my horses and a pond.
I got you.
My horses were actually up there whenever.
It looks
Come through.
tremendously better. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, I like you cleaned it up, appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, not a problem. We never meant to come in there and be a nuisance. It just took some time, and then this surface, I think I had to have 7 loads of that milling dumped in there to even get it where we could back the
Right.
trailers in and out, because I had to keep my truck locked in 4 low to get my trailers in and out of there when I moved in.
You got a few ruts out there where you move that, even still in that mud, where you move the storage van, look like you moved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
sold
the
it.
porta
It was for sale the whole time, and it just had to be cleaned out. It was just a lot of things, a lot of moving parts to it when we first went in there. And it was kind of it happened, and I moved on a whim, and I had to clear out of a certain place by a certain time. You know, it was just one of those things. We'll just kind of get it in here, and then we'll start to sort it and figure it out. you know.
It looks a lot better. And a lot of the issue, I mean, not issues, thing, there have been some others on, up and down that road that we've had nuisance issues. So I mean, it's kind of like, what's good for one, good for the other. Somebody's reported it, you know.
And then, like I told everybody, I never reported anybody. I would never call anybody whenever I'm in the middle of a big old mess myself, you know, so. So I was just trying to get it done. But this was what we were looking for, something really nice that I could come to. I mean, I'll be retiring in a couple of years, and that's probably where I'm already there 10, 12 hours whenever I, can be, because it's something always to do there, so.
Yeah, looks good, Jim. Appreciate you cleaning it up and getting it done.
Absolutely.
I don't think we have any, you can see where the mud was right there, you're getting that out.
Yeah, we just dumped that load in there to fill in where the buildings used to sit.
Right.
And then I'll probably get another load or two of milling on top of that, make that a good, clean parking surface right there.
All right, well, we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
So,
it. Yeah.
so the action would be that we're taking no action, but we need that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's completed what was really asked. Renee, y'all happy with it? Please, everybody, yeah? Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Brian.
Thank you.
So we'll close that public hearing, and the record will reflect that there's no action taken. Next item under nuisance consideration, there's actually two different properties that I think involve the same owner. Is that right, Renee?
That's right.
So we'll take the first one, which is
They're not here.
Lauren Muse. I don't have them on my sheet here as being present, Jared, but I would like to step out just to make sure after I open it. So we'll open the Lauren Muse nuisance property at 2260 Almar Road. This is District 1.
And one in Mountain Creek too?
Yes, sir.
Same person. That's about as far apart you can get.
The other one's a rental.
Hmm.
It's a rental, the other one.
Let me see some pictures.
Word's helping us out with asking for people to come in, and Miss Muse is not, Mr. or Miss Muse is not present. I don't know which that is. So Renee will demonstrate with photos.
All right, so we've gotten some complaints on this property. These pictures were taken sometime in August. He had a lot of debris, vehicles.
This is on Alomar?
Almar.
This one is? Okay. Yeah, I bet
And
you
now
have.
these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
Yeah, I bet you have gotten some on Alomar complaining. Mm-hmm.
Now they've got that
Pretty
camper.
nice little strip. Okay. Well, do we have them separate, Craig?
Yes, we're gonna have them separate, as separate properties, Jared.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
but all I can do is declare a nuisance.
All right. Jared made motion to declare nuisance. Steve
Not here.
seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
We'll close that public hearing. Mr. President, we'll open a public hearing on the Lauren Muse nuisance property at 2449 West Mountain Creek Road, It's also District 1 property. That public hearing is open. Renee will demonstrate.
All right, so this is a rental. It's a vacant house. Rubbish and debris, grass, unsafe structure. These pictures were taken June 24th. We had, he did contact us. He said he would cut the grass and clean up the property. And these are the.
Wayne, about where's that on West Mountain
Not
Creek?
right now.
I'm
I
trying to
haven't been
picture.
to that one.
Huh?
I haven't been to that one.
There's anything in the file.
Okay,
These pictures were taken yesterday.
so it's vacant?
It is vacant.
Is that a carport?
Yeah. Looks
That
like-
is?
I'm not sure what that is.
It's a double garage.
I was just curious where that pole in the middle.
That's to hold it up.
It's separated.
Looks like an air conditioner sitting out on the right, but I guess it's not, but it looks like it.
His and her garage.
So he may have cut a little grass at some point.
It's a little
but-
crooked.
Yeah, somebody bumped that pole. Well, they've cut the grass. What else we need them to do?
Well, there's some, It looks bad.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad. The structure itself is
Yeah, I mean,
getting bad, real bad.
is it a house there with that?
It was,
That,
it's
I
a,
think that was the house.
Oh,
Obviously, they're not
what's
renting
that,
out.
what's that
Not
back in the
renting.
back
Back
behind?
behind it, looks
Looks
like
like a
another
house.
car parked there.
Looks like there's a trailer behind it. And those people have built a fence to separate off that.
I don't know what that was behind it. It almost looks like a house. Well, you're right, the front part may have been the house too. Yeah. Okay, what's the, I mean, if it's, it's not livable, is it?
we
Well,
don't
what
know
we-
unless we can get inside
what
it
if we
probably,
have
but
to
it is
do-
in bad, it's bad
Clean up
condition.
around it and cut the grass? And wait till it falls in? I mean, can't
Well,
go out
if he
and
were
tear
to
it down
rent
at
it,
this
he would
point.
have to come and get
Why?
a utility inspection. So we
Well,
would
we
be
had-
able to go in it then and see
Either
what
they
would
need
have to be
bring up
done.
the code and secure it.
Nobody's living in it.
But if somebody goes
Something-
in it. it
The
falls,
actual-
No, what I'm saying, before they could be living, it would have to have a permit to do something.
To
and
get
then we could
power, and then we
cross
would be
it
able to
then,
go
couldn't we?
inside.
I think under your property maintenance code, which, by the way, is a regulation that we enforce, you could declare it a public nuisance and ask the court to evaluate whether or not it conforms with our property maintenance requirements, okay? So that would be the next step. If you're wanting to take the next step that involves doing something, that would be your step.
I can't imagine it ever been brought up, but at this point, until something started on it, I don't know where, I'm not, I mean, maybe we do it that way, but I don't know whether I could go say you need to tear it down.
If the party that owns the property is going to do something, then having a court action to evaluate whether or not it meets our property maintenance code is certainly the way to go.
Man, it looks
That
like
gives
a
us a place
dilapidated
to
structure
take.
to me.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
and me
saying.
too, I agree,
It certainly hasn't been maintained.
but there's
Okay.
there's a lot dilapidated until they start doing something, but that's fine if we can do it that way.
Yes, sir.
But as far as telling them you're gonna tear it down at this point,
Yes, sir. Well, we would just need a motion to declare it a nuisance and ask for Nate to take it
All right.
up and see if we can get the judge to
yeah,
help
well,
us.
they're not here to defend themselves.
That's
so
right.
That's my ground for declaring a nuisance.
All right. Which one was this?
Number 3, Jay.
All right. Motion by Jared, declare a nuisance.
Second.
Second by Steve. All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it.
Hey, just a minute, Twain, do you know if they kin to any of the other muse around there?
No.
You know,
I
down
think
Muse
that's
Road
the-
and all that?
I think this is the one that has all the rental properties. Brad, I think Brad has dealt with him before too.
Huh, okay.
And we had one right there on the corner, it was a rental house.
But it's the same people on
This, it was represented by somebody that was, I think, she lived out of state.
it? Okay. All right.
So that matter is, that public hearing is closed. We'll open item number 4. Ms. Ward, do you mind helping see if there is a Mitchell Keith Deadman?
What road is this?
Mitchell Keith Deadman.
Florence Circle?
Florence.
There is a gentleman out there that would like to hear what's going on.
Okay. So in the meantime, we'll go ahead and open that public hearing. Renee will demonstrate with the photos. This is Mitchell Keith Deadman, nuisance property, 231 Florence Circle, District 1.
All right, so we've gotten a lot of complaints here. This property sold, but before, the person who owned it was brought before you once before. So these pictures were taken July the 15th. People are dumping on the property inoperable vehicles, grass, rubbish and debris.
So they can see this out there?
Yes, sir, someone is coming.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay.
All right.
All right, and these are the new pictures that were taken September the 29th. There hasn't been any change.
Just have a seat wherever you can see it, yeah. Yeah, now this was sold, and then let's see, first we just started it, then it was sold, and we had to start all over again.
That's right.
And it is worse, what you see, it is
Okay.
exactly that and worse.
Was it sold at a tax sale?
No,
It wasn't a
no,
tax
it was
sale.
for sale, somebody bought it, and then we started the process getting it cleaned up, and then it got sold again, so whoever bought it obviously bought the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we've contacted him and told him, and he kept saying he's gonna clean up, and I said, but we need to see some aggressive action real soon.
Can we put a lien on it, so if they do sell it, the next buyer knows immediately they gotta do it?
You know, we can do that, Jay. We could do what's called a lis pendens. It's actually not a lien, but it's a notification to any third party that might buy
Yeah.
that there's an issue that needs to be addressed. So it's short of a lien,
Yeah.
but it's, here's what makes that difficult. In order to file a lis pendens, you have to have a direct connection of your action to the property, not just the individual. Okay? So it's got to be related to the property. I think we can do that. We've not done that in the past, but I think it's a good idea for us to look at.
I mean, they're just gonna
It's
keep
additional
doing
All
pressure.
they do is keep
Yeah.
selling it, yeah.
Yeah, it's additional pressure that comes to bear on somebody that owns it,
Yeah.
that before they are actually able to sell it, they gotta tend to this.
And that's not that much either,
Yes,
really.
agreed.
Doesn't look like.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, it's a lot of stuff in with the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does, I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal to clean up, you're right.
So.
I can take a bulldozer, push it, and take a
Yeah.
grapple and clean it up and have it done in 2 days.
Tell me
who you
are and how you fit into this.
I'm Jeff Jennings, I'm a neighbor that lives right down the street.
All right, so you're interested because of the condition of the property
Yes.
as well. All right. Does the board wish to hear from Mr. Jennings with respect to this issue? Well, the board's getting ready to declare it a nuisance, so I don't know what could be added at this point, but.
I mean, unless you just had something to say, because we're fixing to declare it a nuisance, and, we're gonna move forward as far as we can do, as far as we can go.
I
And,
will say that I appreciate anything the board can do to help clean this up.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that as of this morning, nothing has changed on that.
yeah,
But over time, I have photographs showing from February of this year that it's getting progressively worse.
see what they're doing, some, we think we know who. I don't think he'll be dumping anytime soon. I think he's somewhere else right now, but he, back in there and dump stuff out there that they clean up somewhere else. and
Okay.
take care of those dumping
This has
sites.
become a dump site. Okay.
But the gentleman that bought it, if I'm not mistaken, Renee, then we contacted him, he said he's gonna get started on it real
He
soon.
said he would. He said he purchased it to clean it up and put a manufactured home there.
And
but
we
nothing's-
Good.
huh?
Good.
Yeah, we told him to go ahead and start. And so then you said the whole process has gone again.
Yeah.
And he's had the whole process to do something and has done nothing. So, no, at this point, I'm declaring a nuisance. I just hope it gets on up to justice court and they make it happen. And I hope he doesn't turn around and sell it again and start over again.
Yeah. So I'll get with Renee and put together this document that I'm mentioning,
Yeah.
this list pendants,
Yeah.
so that it can go in the land records. And that way any future purchaser would be on direct notice
have to start
of the
this all
county's
over.
claim.
Right.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
True.
Hey,
In the past, when we've taken it to justice court, they have still gone after the previous owner. If it's sold in the process, they have still, the one on Barker Road, they did that there.
Right.
So
So,
wasn't the previous owner still had to clean it up? Even if he tried, because he'd already been sent to court, okay. So that may hold his feet to it.
well, that's a way that the justice court has chosen to handle that may or may not
All right.
stand up.
So,
All
Jared,
right.
got
I
a motion to declare
motion
nuisance.
declared nuisance, okay.
Second by Steve, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
No,
Okay?
we'll wait and see now.
Thank you.
It's gonna take a little time for it to get there, and so he may have, once he knows, he may have a little window and see, okay, I better get out here and do this, and hopefully that's what he does.
Well, like I told you before, if people wants to help clean it up, I live down the street, I'll be
Yeah.
happy to come help him
You know,
clean it.
You see him out there, let him know that. All right, appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, that public hearing is closed. We'll open the public hearing on number 5, which is the Johnny Cooksey nuisance property at 1189A Trickenbridge Road. This is District 4 property. I believe Mr. Cooksey is present. He can come in. Thank you, Mike. While Mr. Cooksey is coming into the boardroom, I'll ask Renee to go ahead and demonstrate.
All right, so we received complaints on this property through the years. He's been here before on this property. These pictures were taken in May of this year. And then these are the new pictures that were taken yesterday. There has been a camper there that somebody, we think lives in. There's a generator that runs all the time. These are the new pictures that were taken on September 29th.
So this is the multiple times he's came in here?
He's been in here, I know, at least once before
So
on
why
this
does it
property.
not go straight to justice court? I thought the way we did it in the past, if they came back up, they go straight to justice court.
It was a previous, a different property.
Oh.
This is a,
Oh, that's the same problem.
Well, we did this one too. I believe in the file we have. I know that the previous administrator went out and met with them and talked to them about, you know, you can't create a junkyard if there wasn't one. You know, I mean, you can't just come in and create a junkyard.
Right.
And you can't store inoperable vehicles out in the open, or work on them out in the open. They should be in an enclosed structure. And so I know they've had the discussion before about that, but it continues.
I believe Mr. Cooksey is present. If you have questions, if you want to hear from him,
You have anything you want to say?
Come on
you
up.
need to come forward if you're going to say anything. Please give your name and address right here. Name and address.
Johnny Cooksey, 121 McDonald Lane, Brandon, Mississippi.
Who lives at 1189A Trickenbridge Road?
There's some people camps down there from time to time.
Nobody lives there?
Nobody lives there permanent basis, no sir.
What we're looking at here, nobody lives there?
No sir, not permanent there. Like I say, people camps there on the weekend.
Who brought all this stuff here and here?
That's part of my junk.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're gonna have to let the court deal with you on this, sir.
Okay.
I make a motion clear this is a nuisance.
Second.
Motion by myself, second by Steve.
Uh-huh.
Any other discussion?
Shut
All in
that
favor, say
down.
aye.
Aye.
Aye, say
What's that blue thing? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, the water hose, water. So bad. I don't know.
All right.
Steve, what's that blue thing stuck out in the middle?
And I think that's an old plow handle.
I think it's an old plow, that's what it kinda looks
Yeah.
like, or either,
I don't know.
kinda odd, sticking out of
Yeah.
the
Well,
blue.
he
It's
didn't
really
call
blue.
it his stuff,
Yeah,
he called it
right.
his junk.
Yeah.
Easy, yeah, it's my junk. Yeah.
It almost looks like it was photoshopped into that.
It
photo.
does.
That was a bent
Yeah,
boat.
that looked real.
It did.
It's that $89 camera.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no kidding. Probably had a worm or a piece of fuzz in front of it, is what it was.
You had to hold, you held a piece of thread out there, Dwayne, just to measure us up.
Sir.
We need to upgrade our camera or our
Yes.
camera operator one, or both.
We probably could
All right.
upgrade your camera.
So the Cooksey matter
Kathy
is,
took those.
that hearing is closed. Let's move on. Item number 6 is the Bert and Leslie Wilmeth nuisance property at 348 Durham Court, is District 2 property. I don't see Mr. and Ms. Wilmeth listed on our list of attendees, but check for me, Mike, if you don't mind. We'll open that public hearing and I'll ask Renee to demonstrate with photos.
All right, so this property is in Castlewood subdivision. We've gotten multiple complaints about the grass being uncut. There are inoperable vehicles and rubbish and debris in the backyard, which,
Might get a bale of hay out of that.
Deal, yeah.
now we have had some contact with the owner. He talked to Kathy. He indicated that the house was being foreclosed on. He told her at that time he would cut the front yard, but he wasn't doing anything to the back.
Hot tub out there.
So, can we go ahead and do the same thing, that what you're gonna do?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Which is,
So
anybody
these are
live
the
there?
new
Declare a nuisance,
pictures.
but also put that
Yeah,
listing
so
on the.
how that helps us is that when it's in foreclosure, then we know the title's about to change back to the lending institution. I would love for them to have notice. This is a classic place where we need that type of thing to happen.
Yeah.
Banks notoriously, and we saw that, you saw that with the situation where I think it was Trustmark was really hard timing us about being able to move forward with what became a public health emergency, if y'all recall that situation. And they stood in the way of us being able to move forward on that. So I'd like to put that on notice.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So-
that'll be, once you close that hearing, that'll be my motion to send it to
Yeah.
Justice Court and
Yes,
attachment with.
and
the
attach the notice, the required notice. All right,
Motion by
that sounds like a
Daniel,
great idea.
send Justice Court.
Second.
Second by Brad, all in favor say aye. Aye.
That will definitely help us. Okay? That public hearing is closed. Item 7 is the Emil and Juanita Dovan nuisance property at 504 Grants Ferry Road, it's District 2 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll get Mike to help us. The Dovines, Mike. Renee, you can go ahead and demonstrate with the photos.
All right, so this is located on Grants Ferry Road. It's a business. These pictures were taken July the 20th. The grass hasn't been cut here. The property's not being maintained.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
This is
these
on
are,
the left of Grants Ferry?
if you're going toward
The spillway?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is that a, I mean, is it an office and a house?
Well, this is an office. That next door is an office building too.
John Shirley used to have some kind of office over in that
Well,
area.
a long time ago, that was a medical clinic.
Yeah,
Back in
it
the early
says
90s, and it's kind of worked its way through different churches
some
and
kind
different
of
types of.
prosthetic
It's
rehabilitation
been all different
center.
type of things like that, but it definitely needs to be declared a
Well,
nuisance.
it's
once-
abandoned for a while, hasn't it?
That
This
tree
road.
outgrew to the roof.
The owners
Yeah.
don't live here. They live in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Good grief, a dead tree may take care
But
of
they
some
did
of it.
receive the mail.
Let's just,
Huh?
let's just send it
nothing else
up,
has been done.
same up.
Same
I'm
Yeah.
good with.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think we can,
Yeah, so this is one, guys, given its location, given the fact that it's commercial, we may want to consider an option that allows for a cleanup of the site. I think there would be plenty of property value there to recover any costs
Well, the
associated
only
with
thing
that.
that
But
concerns me about that, Craig, these people live out of state, don't really care about it. How many times are we gonna come back and clean it?
yeah, so the idea would be that before we have to clean it multiple times, we effect our lien and then offer the property by public sale, Jay.
Okay.
And it becomes then the subject of different ownership.
All right.
That's the process. I think there's gonna be room for you guys to do that
I
here,
would think so.
Okay.
given what the potential debt situation. The state of it suggests to me that there's not a mortgage on it, more than likely. So I'm suggesting to you that there may be some value there, just by virtue of the location. Yes, sir. Once we incur costs,
Yeah.
once we reduce that cost to an actual lien against the property, not just a lis pendens, not just the notice, but an actual lien against the property, then you have the authority to declare, to ask me then to go and enforce that lien. That becomes county property at that point. We've done that in the past, by the way. Probably 4 or 5 boards back, at least that long. Back in the early 2000s, there was a property, I want to say it was in Mill Creek, it may have been in a different subdivision, that burned. The property owners left
Yeah.
town.
Right.
It was just left in that state of about 50% destroyed. That board went ahead and effected the cleanup of the property,
Yeah,
incurred
Alan
a
got
cost.
heck of a deal on that. What's
So-
his name, guy comes in with the,
Scott Allen.
Scott Allen, he got a heck of a deal on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that property, the board, a later board then enforced the lien and declared the property to be surplus county property or dilapidated county property and offered it for sale by virtue of the statute. There was a bid process, the bids were received, the board recovered all of its costs of cleanup, my recollection is, and then the subsequent owner actually tore down the rest of it and built a house on it. So the process can work if you've got the value there. I think this property may have value that can be useful. All right, so
Yeah.
right now, this step right here, all you're doing is we're sending it up Justice Court and see if we can get the current owners to take ownership and to clean it up, right, through the
Yeah.
court process. If that doesn't work, I'm suggesting to you that
Will
may
it
be.
be a way for it to come back to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Will.
All right.
They ought to have
It
plenty of
says they're
water
out of
pressure.
town.
Hey, no
Yeah.
doubt about it, it's directly under it,
I
so.
almost looked like it was added in
They're
there.
in North
It doesn't look
Let's
right
go
there.
through the process and see if they'll,
Mill Creek here.
they may respond if it gets something from the court.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a couple weeks.
All right.
It's not today.
So we'll close that public, well, I'm sorry, let's go ahead and take action on that. Daniel, do you want to make the motion to declare it a nuisance and send it up?
Yes, sir, it's my motion.
Second.
Motion by Daniel, second by Jared, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The next item on the nuisance property considerations is item 8, Roy and Evelina Shed, nuisance property at 133 Lakeshore Road. This is District 4. I believe Mr. Shed is out there. Okay, Renee's going to demonstrate with the photos. That public hearing is open.
All right, so these pictures were taken June the 12th. We'd received a complaint about this property in June. There was a dilapidated manufactured home, rubbish and debris and grass. The mail was received. And this is in Pelahatchie Lake Estates. These are the new pictures that were taken yesterday.
Hey, word, we gotta see the sign back there. You know, if you don't show a sign, don't save it.
So, Mr. Shedd, if you'll come forward, please, state your name and address. The board may have questions about the condition of the property.
133 Lake Shore.
You understand what's going on?
Yes, sir, if you'll give me the Monday, it'll be taken care of.
Say that again.
If you'll give me the Monday, it'll be taken care of. I hadn't been over there, but I can't do that in one day or one weekend. But you give me 2 weeks, I'll take care of it.
Oh, I thought this started like months ago.
No, I'm saying it won't take, I can't fix it in a day.
Right, right.
But if you'll give me a few days, I'll say a week or two, all that I can do in a day. But the porch and stuff, I can't.
We can declare it and then give
So,
time to do it.
within, by the time, if we give you a period of time, you'll get the porch gone and get your place cleaned up?
I either get it gone or fixed, I'll do something with it.
Okay.
I ain't been over there, but I tried to rent it, and that's another nightmare, but I'll take care of it. I mean,
I don't mean to laugh.
I mean,
I
hey.
know what you're saying, yeah.
What do you want to do tonight?
Well, you could go ahead and declare it a nuisance and just give him some additional time if
All right,
that's what you...
that's what we're gonna do, so we don't have to come back and forth. We're gonna
Right.
declare it a nuisance, and I'm gonna ask them to check with you in 30 days. And if
Okay.
you hadn't made any progress, then it's gonna go up to justice court. If you have, then you can work it out with them. Okay?
Okay, but I can make progress in a weekend.
Well,
That's
Well, in
fine.
30 days, you ought to be able to have it all wrapped up.
Either,
Sure.
it'll be hard, that porch will be gone, I'll do
good.
something.
All right, all right, my motion.
I mean, nobody's
declares
living in
nuisance,
it no
and then
more.
put it on abeyance for 30 days.
Anybody living in
They
it?
did, I don't know nothing about it.
No.
Are you gonna plan on renting it back out?
No, I'm planning on selling it, I got my deed right here,
Okay.
Okay.
Selling the property or selling the trailer?
all of it.
Okay.
The man next door wants it, but I'm gonna clean it up either way.
Yeah, yeah.
Starting Saturday, I'll get
It's
at it.
gonna fall back on you.
Right,
If you try to sell it, it's still gonna fall back on you.
We have a
Right.
motion by Steve, declare it a nuisance.
Second.
and,
Well, I'm gonna-
30 days,
as far as
second
to
by
clean it
Brad.
up, I get it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you
All
coming
in
and
favor, say
Taking care of that.
Aye.
Probably get more money if you clean it up.
Okay, we will close that public hearing and we'll move on to item number 9, which is our continuation of our Dalton McAfee nuisance property. This is 2489 Star Road, this is District 3 property. So we will reopen the Dalton McAfee nuisance consideration hearing.
I rode by there the other day and it looked good. I
You
mean,
mind
Right.
checking to see if Mr. McAfee?
he's not gonna be here.
He's not out there?
He lives in Natchez,
Okay.
but he can check.
It's that Thomasville store,
Hmm.
where they had the camper and stuff, and
What
y'all
about
had just
your
continued.
lady?
I'm still alive. It's still a little, it's.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Another attaboy for the sheriff. He kept Brad alive a little longer.
You love the sheriff, you know.
Kept
That's
Brad.
a dang gum Brad
She
County.
was walking on the road yesterday and I rode by. She waved to me, so I
You
thought,
throw a rock at it. Hey, she was
Number one
walking.
sign.
She didn't have a walk?
yeah, she had a walk.
Okay.
Hey,
I
I
forgot
want
to
to talk
walk.
about Wayne Stafford. Where are we at?
She's the one that had to walk one day, just walk.
Wayne Stafford.
West Beach House. Huh?
Oh, it wasn't Wayne Stafford, it was Valerie and,
Mitchell Wayne Stafford.
Wayne Stafford,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
We're still working with him on that.
Is he doing anything?
He is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Are we gonna declare the Dalton McAfee matter
It
a
was-
nuisance? Oh, it's resolved?
Yeah.
Thank you. Then we will close that public hearing, for the record. And that's all of them, Mr. President.
All right. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion moved. Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Jared. All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it. We'll adjourn now. Call back to order our Board of Supervisors meeting.
All right, where are we? Down with Laura?
Yep.
I don't see where Craig has
Well,
anything.
I've got a couple of things I'd love to visit with you about that are not on the agenda. They don't require any particular action.
right.
But I'm at y'all's disposal. We can move on through the agenda and do that at the end.
Well, all right, we can do it at the end. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay, the first item I have is authority to amend the FY20 budget as of September 30th and to reflect the actual receipts and expenditures for that year.
Motion approved.
Second. Motion by Jared, second myself. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right.
Next item is authority to issue a refund check to Constable Gary Wyndham in the amount of $2,314 for overpayment of employee PERS contribution for 2019.
Motion.
Motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next item, approval of a request for the FY20 recreational funds. This is District 1 in the amount of $3,000 as authorized by House Bill 761. And the funds will be used to help with projects in the Florence High School baseball and softball fields, and authority to issue that check and contingent upon receipt of the required documents.
Hey, Miss Laura, what if we just put D through G in one motion? All
Yeah.
the same thing, right?
Yep.
They are all for the
Well, I'm good with
recreational
that, but I do have one question.
uses.
Do we not have to go through these
Nonprofits.
nonprofits now?
We do,
They are.
and that's like what the contingency
Yeah,
is
I've sent them a message.
on C, is that they have to provide us the documentation that they are going through that.
They have
gotta
it,
be
they
done by
just
the
didn't send that with them. I sent them a message, they're gonna get that.
Right, and they will have to go through that and
No.
do their nonprofit status.
It's not a problem, they just didn't do the letter. Actually, it's a letter request from that.
All right, so we're going to combine
D
D through
G
C through G.
or D through G? Right? No, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
G, C.
C, I'm sorry. Yeah, C.
Through G.
G.
All right.
Well,
If you're all right with
Yeah,
that, I
motion.
mean, it's all the same stuff.
Do I have a
Yeah.
motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Steve,
Second.
second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
All right,
I noticed
H.
everybody had some on there but me.
Me either.
You don't see me on there, do you?
No, no.
See?
I guess it was just 3 and 4.
Y'all done spent y'all's.
Jay just goes quick.
I didn't get none.
Jay just goes quick.
Well, Bob had all your.
Brad had help with his.
Yep.
Next item is authority to remove equipment from the Sheriff's Department inventory, declare
We got some
equipment
tomorrow.
surplus, and transfer Rankin County School District as an intergovernmental transfer at no cost. And this is pursuant to Code Section 31713, asset number 8845 and asset number 8875.
No, Sheriff, you throw Pearl School a bone every once in a while. You know.
He's got one the next one. The very next one. The very next one's Pearl, isn't it? Huh?
All right.
Transfer to
Well,
Pearl.
Read me number I.
The school.
Oh, the school.
Yeah.
I got it.
School.
Does Pearl have a school over there?
A-rated, baby. All right, have a motion?
Hey,
Motion.
can we just do H and I together?
Second.
Second by Brad.
Don't sound like Bob over here now, combine them.
I mean,
All in
They
favor,
was
say
a
aye.
big combined thing.
Aye.
same stuff.
Same thing on that.
Aye. Motion by Steve.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
All right, the next one, approval of the FY20 year-end inventory and annual disposition of assets. And there's a report. I don't know if y'all have all the attachments. You should have.
Okay.
Make a
I have
motion to approve.
Motion by Daniel.
Second.
Second by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 K is approval of the year-end claims docket, that's 9/16 to 9/30, in the amount of $1,950,073.93.
So moved.
Motion by Daniel,
Second.
second by Brad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And the
Just make a motion to approve item L.
All right. Motion by Daniel,
Second.
second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Because isn't that normally under consent, that falls under?
It is, but we didn't have consent this time, the year end, we just put it all out here on the.
All right,
All this other paperwork.
Couple of things I want to mention to you.
We've had, as predicted, we have had a number of additional litigation matters. I'm not going to get into specifics, obviously, we're not in executive session, but just advising you guys, we've had a number of litigation matters that have been filed recently. Some of them relate to already existing litigation matters. It's sort of a ramp up, some additional activity within the context of already existing litigation. We've had some cases that have been dormant for quite some time. One in particular for almost a year has been dormant. That has come back to life now and is becoming much more active recently. That would be the airport, what we call the airport litigation, the original airport litigation case. This is the case that erupted after the passage of Senate Bill 2162, which was an effort to make the airport authority regional in nature as opposed to municipal in nature. And so that lawsuit was filed originally. It had proceeded through various courses of litigation, including going up to the Fifth Circuit on an interlocutory appeal, which is an interim within the context of the case before final decision. So it's already been up to the Fifth Circuit once. I expect that thing to make multiple trips to the Fifth Circuit. But that has come back to life. That's just an example. The annexation case, you guys will recall that the cities of Pearl and Flowood filed essentially companion annexation cases related to the property around the airport. And then the city of Jackson recently has filed its own separate annexation type of case where the city of Jackson is actually asking for permission to annex property that is adjacent to the airport. And of course, that's very important litigation to not only to those municipalities, Flowood and Pearl, but also to the county, because there's a significant amount of that property that is unincorporated at present. And so we are a necessary party there and have been participating in that. And that's two examples. The Mill Creek litigation that has been ongoing, you guys are aware, we have a very important cases coming up. In the meantime, the parties in that case, the plaintiffs in that case, have filed yet another lawsuit.
What?
And so there is now a case that has been resolved by agreed judgment and a secondary case that purports to suggest that they don't like the agreed judgment they entered into. And so the never-ending saga, yes, the never-ending saga continues. I mention that because this board rightly was interested to know what are we likely to spend as a county on legal costs. That's a very real consideration. It needs to be addressed, and we want to try to stay on top of that. And so there was a commitment made by your legal team to make sure you guys were aware before it happened what additional expenses were likely in this fiscal year. And so I'm making you aware that we're seeing additional litigation that is.
So if we win, if the judge finds in our favor, can we make them pay our attorney fees?
We will, we are in discussions with our legal team about that, Jay. I anticipate that we are going to make a statement in the court record that puts them on notice that if in fact the court is called upon to throw out this secondary lawsuit because it's frivolous, that we will seek a recovery of our defense costs, okay? that is on tap. It's being discussed. There are some strategies that we want to employ that may help us. So I don't want to paint us in a corner on that. And we're getting into some things right now, forgive me, but we're getting into some discussions now that probably don't need to be on the public record. But yeah, I don't mind the other side knowing that we believe that they've committed a violation of what's called Rule 11 under our court rules, which is what you refer to when you talk about frivolous cases. And we believe it's frivolous. We believe that it is fraught with difficulties and conflicts. And not to make it too delicate, but what we've got here is we've got a property owner who happens to be in the position of the president of the homeowners association, who has interrupted the entirety of this process single-handedly.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I want to add one thing, Mr. President, if I can, on the, one of the things that we talked about last week, well, not last week, but several meetings ago, in regards to lobbying activities in conjunction with the wishes of the board.
Yep.
One of the things that's out there, and I know that was on the list of lobbying, was work with the Pafford legislation or the EMS legislation. I'm sorry, the EMS legislation in regards to Rankin County.
Yeah.
I don't think that needs to be on the lobbying tour right now. I think we need to take that off the lobbying tour, try to work it through other routes that we may have to be able to go through without the route of lobbying, at the Capitol. So what I'd like to do you need a motion to take that off, or just verbal approval from the board, if you guys would support us on that?
Right.
As far as
If I can add, Daniel's exactly right. The thought process is that before we go to the legislature for a solution on our ambulance questions, we have other options available to us that don't require us to do that. I want to go through those
avenues
get the
first.
Result.
Right.
Okay?
Let's
And so we would like to run that trap before we go to the legislature with it and incur costs there. We've already incurred some costs on that, by the way, because between the date that you guys set your priority list and today, there's already been actions taken to get all of that lined up and prepped. Strategic conversations have already happened.
Well, I guess I don't understand, if Trey knows that they can go through the AG's office to do it, then why go
Well, I
through
think
all that?
I think what happened was he was going by the list that the board formed.
That's correct.
But the board said, "Hey, we want these items on the list to go lobby for," and he just went off of that list. He wasn't going to argue or question it necessarily, even though I know we had the discussion that we should have gone the AG's route or the opinion route before we go to the lobbying side.
I mean, but this has been going on for 2 or 3 years now.
No, I guess they just discovered the other legal route to go through.
Okay.
But when we met a month ago, I guess it was, and formed the list for lobbying activities, the EMS was on there.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be on. It doesn't need to be on the lobbying list right now. There's other routes to go through to do that. So what I'd like the board to be able to say is send direction back through Slade to them to take EMS off the lobbying platform and not lobby for that right now. That'd be my suggestion.
Maybe my suggestion would be, you've got a priority list that you've already communicated, which is 4 items. The EMS ambulance was number 2 on the list. I suggest that we move it to number 4, and we run the trap of securing an attorney general's opinion as opposed to going to the legislature, but leave it on there in the event that we get no traction.
Well, and I
at
just
the
don't want
AG.
them to do any lobbying work on that.
Exactly, and I think by moving it to number 4, we will accomplish that goal. It'll be down at the bottom of the list now, and we will shift up the other priority items in priority.
That's what I'd like to do. I don't need a motion for that, or
We're shifting it, and we're instructing our guys, let's run the AG trap. Okay?
Yep.
If I can answer Jay's question real quick too, you asked, why wasn't that right? It was only recently that we learned some things about the AG option that make that more viable. That was recent.
Okay.
it's just discovered.
I have a question, or just conversation.
Hey, one thing, do we need a motion?
Yeah, I just need an acknowledgement from the board
Yeah,
that we're gonna
do I have a motion to
reprioritize
remove
that.
Remove
And
it.
and
We're not
that you
removing it, but
want,
just
that you
adjust
want
it.
me to
Make the
communicate that.
adjustment. Yeah.
I will communicate that to our lobby team and make sure they know to put that as number 4 and put it in a holding pattern.
Yeah, holding pattern.
Don't spend money on
yeah.
it.
Correct.
Right. Keyword.
Yes.
So we need a vote on it?
Why don't we do that, just to make it
All right, I
official?
made the motion.
Motion by Jared, second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Alright.
That added it.
Yes.
Now I need a motion, Jared.
All right, motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Jared, second by Brad, all in favor say aye. Aye.
If I can also alert you guys on one other matter. Back last year, we authorized the Wagner Engineering and Brunini to collaborate on putting together an application for the 7001 program. That work product is complete. So the next step in the process there would be further action, if any. Keep in mind, part of what you authorized was Daniel, myself, and some others to go to DC to have strategic conversations. The virus completely floored all of that, and we ended up having to have conversations via technology, and that has been done and is part of what you've already secured and paid for, and the application's in place. And so this is to alert you that the application is now pending. There needs to be strategic follow-up on our application and encouragement to keep that at the front, in the front of everyone's mind for purposes of both approving the application as submitted and then appropriating funds for specific projects. But the concern is that we have to keep attention on that. And at the moment, there is not a vehicle by which to do that. We don't have authority to continue that process. So I need you guys, I'm not asking you to do anything today, I'm asking you to keep that in mind and talk amongst yourselves and consider whether or not we need to formalize some additional work on that. All right? I want y'all to think about that.
Like, what needs to be done next to move it down the road?
Well, we need to have the conversations with the appropriate people in DC when we can get there.
Okay, so basically when all the corona stuff, they get back to work, then
Yes.
we can go.
Yeah, and so the thought process is this: we don't know when that's going to happen,
Yeah.
but we'd like to be able to strike and move as soon as we can, and we don't have authority to do that.
All right, so we need to make a motion to give authority for you and Daniel to go to DC when time arrives.
Yes, that's what we would need. I think if I'm not prepared today to give you guys all of the proposal of the things that need to be done, I know that that is the most critical part of it, and there will be a cost associated with that. I can't tell you what that cost is. I need to be able to tell you what that cost is. So if you will allow me at least until Monday to put something formal in front of you that you can act on, that would be my thought. Let's wait on to do this on Monday at least.
Okay,
I want to add one other thing if I can.
I do too.
You want to go first?
Go ahead, I'm ready.
Last board meeting, I wasn't here. I was deployed to the coast on a hurricane response team. But the issue came up on the Hidden Hills subdivision, so I wanted to get everybody on the board up to speed on what that was. Once I got back into town, I'd gone out there again. We've been out there numerous times prior to them coming into the board meeting. And the issue that was found every time we came in there is that the hole in the area that's messed up is not on county right-of-way. So myself, Mike, Tim, Craig, other groups had gone out there and looked at it and said, we can't legally act because it's on private property. So the discussion from that point also was Commissioner Brent Bailey went out there at the same point. They'd met again, and again determined it's still not on the county right-of-way, but we can't legally act. Since that time we went, the Hidden Hills Homeowner Association, we'd written them a letter, Slade wrote them a letter, explained to them all this in writing so they'd understand it. They had one of their people, and basically explained to them also that this property was in their space, and it was their responsibility to take care of. So while that was going on, they had someone come out and look at it and brought the observation to them that they believe the pipe failure was on the county's right-of-way side, and it wasn't necessarily on the private property side of it.
Right.
So that was their opinion from going down the hole. So as soon as I got back in town, I went out there. I called Tim. I had Tim meet me back out there along with the HOA president, and I myself went down in the hole. It's about a 14-foot drop down. I had the fire department bring me a ladder. I go down in the hole. I go from one end of the pipe to the other, all the way through both sides. And once I got off the county right-of-way side of it, probably 30 or 40 feet towards the structure, you can see where cabling has been pushed through, and I'm going to use the wrong wording here, but the plastic pipe that attaches into our concrete pipe. So it had busted through. So I can look straight up through it, and I got pictures of it, I got the video of it on my phone, I videoed the whole thing, to where the cable has busted through the pipe, which is allowing the sinkhole to correct the utilities. So directly above that hole, or I'm sorry, directly below that hole is where the cable and the contractors has pushed through the PVC pipe on private property. Again, not on county right away. So I had all the video documentation of it.
PVC pipe.
Well, it's maybe not PVC
It's a
pipe.
culvert,
It's
plastic culvert.
What's the right wording, Mike?
ADS. Black plastic pipe.
The big pipe.
Wait, I thought it was just the cable was just hanging there.
No, so basically what it is, we've got our concrete box, right?
Yeah.
And then inside of that is the what type of pipe? What's it called again?
Concrete coming out of.
No, the black plastic.
ADS.
ADS pipe.
Right.
Comes into ours. Where it joins into ours is the joining part is on private property. Ours extends out a little bit and it comes in. At that point on private property, the contractor or someone has busted through with their cables.
The boring.
They bored through it,
I don't know what happened through it.
but somehow they put a hole
Either
in
way,
it.
there's a hole in the plastic pipe
Yep.
that comes down through.
It lost its
And you got,
connection
I've got cable. I've got cable. It's busted. It's the plastic's busted. It's broke. It's not pulled apart. It's not separated. It's busted through it, where it's been drilled or bored down through it. So I've got cable from whatever company it was, or it could be electrical. I don't know. That's coming through that PVC, not PVC pipe. I'm sorry. What kind of pipe we got, Harris?
ABS.
I'm putting a school on him on that. So the ABS pipe, right, is busted with cabling come through it. Again, this is not on county right of way. It's on private property.
Yes.
It's the same thing we've been telling them for the last
Yes.
month.
Why do we have adult men that come in here and they're so adamant? I mean, they're like we are, just a bunch of idiots, I guess. And nobody's
Right.
gonna maybe come in here and acted. You know how I acted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm afraid I do,
That's,
Steve.
I mean, that's,
And here's the thing.
Yes.
You know how you act. You know how you
I'm
act.
hoping-
those two men
Here-
right
here-
here.
Okay.
Here's
No.
the thing to the thing. The main thing I want to be sure everybody on the board knows, so that if you hear other conversations of it, we follow back up with the same video. We've turned that over to Commissioner Bailey, the Public Service Commission.
Yes.
They're now investigating it to
Yes.
the utilities companies on the damage
Thank
of it.
you.
Again, I want to remind each of us in here that our county box, and that's probably again the not right wording, but our storm sewer, our concrete box is in good tack. There's no leak in it. There's no failure in it. I've gone from one side of that pipe 120 feet this way to 120 foot this way. I tried my best with everything I could in my heart to get Tim Parker in the hole with me. He wouldn't go. He had these high dollar slacks
Somebody
on.
stay on top of safety.
Hey, he had some high dollar slacks on. He wasn't going down in there.
That'd be somebody going
I
out
know
on
if Slade would have been here, even whatever
I'd have been
shoes
right
he
there
had
with
on,
him.
his shoes, he would have still gone in there. My point is, it's not on the county right away.
So all the other sinkholes that they were saying there's 9 or 17 more.
Now, I didn't go through the rest of the pipes yet. I will, but they're all still tied probably into the same type of area.
Yes.
I've got pictures. I got video of the whole thing.
Yes.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
really
cut the
close,
cable.
The
to-
picture we had,
Yeah.
it was really close right away.
Sure it is.
I mean,
Absolutely
you
is.
know,
It comes
I
right up to
think
the edge of it.
easily we could justify fixing it though.
Right, is
you
it
know.
30 foot or is
No.
it 3 foot?
What he sent us a picture
He
of
said
it.
it was about,
It's probably 30
If
foot
you
off.
want to
30 foot
justify
off
fixing it, you can go and fix all 10 of them.
I
Yeah,
crawled.
so the hole itself, Jay, has migrated. What the source is probably 30 feet off the right of way. The hole itself is
There's all
encroaching.
type of utilities in there. So the things that I had through the pipe was I had all kind of black wiring through the pipe. My original plan was I'll snip the cable wire. We'll figure out which cable company pushed it through there. But then there was a small chance. I mean, there's an energy box that I might miss it, right? You know? And I really hadn't had good luck that
It'll
week.
come in
right?
his hair, but stick it straight
Right,
out.
so I just ruled on the side of judgment that I wasn't going to cut it. But
Yeah.
my point by saying that is it's not on our right of way.
That's right.
It's busted through. It's in the hands of the Public Service Commission.
Right.
Let Commissioner
Yes.
Bailey run his
Right.
investigation.
Yes.
And then we'll come back and
run
reset.
out there to do an investigation.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So they have actually opened a formal, what they call a docket. It's their way of saying we're investigating a situation on behalf of the utility providers. Okay, so they have formalized the docket. They have, the PSC has authorized the engagement of an engineer. We have taken Daniel's video and photographs and push those to Commissioner Bailey and ask them, help us identify the specific utility that we find inside that ADS pipe. Which utility is that? That's the first step. We got to know whose utility ended up inside the pipe. If we can figure that out, now we've got a way to address who ought to fix the problem.
Well, that's the HOA's.
It is, but there's no reason for us not to be a part of that. We've been encouraged, we've been notified that we have a place at the table for the PSC's investigation. So we're going to utilize that place at the table to use whatever pressure we can bring. As far as I'm concerned, Brad, I don't know whose cable that is. Let's just assume for the sake of this discussion that it's one of our telecommunications providers.
And one of the
Right.
same things that I also did when I came out of the hole, the HOA president was there. I gave him a copy of the video so he could see it, so he would have it, so they have it. But the damage to the pipe that's causing the sinkhole to happen is not on our right of way, and it's been punctured. That pipe, what kind of pipe is that, Harrison? It's ABS pipe. He didn't want to answer me that time, but the ABS pipe was busted. And again, it's not a separation of our concrete side of it. It's a puncture. It's a break in the plastic where the cable's been shoved down.
Bored down and bored through it.
Yeah.
You know, all that being said, with this, and then they have nine others in their subdivision at least, you know, and there's no way that you can get enough dues to go and address all this.
That's 100% correct.
So that's
100%
why
correct. I've got this same situation on these sinkholes in probably 10 or 15 different subdivisions. Fox Bay was a great one. Remember, they came in here, the same deal they had to do, you put a car inside of on that public space. Arbor Landings had the same thing.
Yes.
Avalon's had it. So
Yes.
I got it all over the place. But
What we generally find, guys, is that the infrastructure that the developers put in, if they put it in right, we're going to get fairly lengthy service out of that. Magnitude of 25 to 30 to 35 years of service out of it. We see some developments where we're starting to see some deterioration. Invariably, in some of the newer developments, the issue is not the result of the developer's initial installation of the infrastructure. It's these darn utilities coming in and damaging the infrastructure when they install.
And then you're going to have the utility company say,
Invariably.
well, I haven't been in, like, say, for example, AT&T. I haven't been in this location in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, for whatever reason.
Correct.
So they come in and hit it and they go, not saying they hit it, but someone hits it and go, and it doesn't show its head until you start getting the sinkage. We've had them hit through sewer lines where we have sewage finally 6-8 months later coming through the ground. So
Yes.
and this is why we got so stringent with the whole Delta communication problem with C-Spire back Christmas time frame when it was,
That's right.
when it was just going rogue and it was getting totally out of hand over there. So that's the update. I know Hidden Hills came in here, so I wanted y'all to hear what actually happened, or what I actually saw, and the process of that. So
Appreciate the update.
Well, we've got some things we want to talk about long term that may help us with that. Everything that's inside my thought process is some sort of effective way to protect that portion of the infrastructure that's inside the 10-foot right of way that's generally now reserved by the developer. If we can introduce some protections there in and around that specific area, we can address some later sinkhole type problems that way. So back to the point that Brad was making, give the video to the HOA and tell them, go get them. The problem is that they don't have what we have available to us to insist on a solution.
well, and I think
So
that's
if
where
we
Brad
find out
with Commissioner Bailey is the
Yes.
right way to go, because he can.
if we can get an identity of that utility provider, that Daniel saw if we can get an identity, we've got permits that may be sitting out there that we can say, yeah, we're ready to consider your permits after the Hidden Hills problem's fixed.
Yeah.
The HOA doesn't have that ability. So we need to be in there. It benefits us to make this solution happen and happen as quickly as possible. And my intention is to see to it that it happens. We just need to get that positive identification of that utility, and we need PSC to help us. So that's where we stand. Good report.
Anything else?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I just have one thing. No, I just have one thing I need to,
Jay was fixing to talk.
huh? I thought you finished, go ahead. No, go.
I am. We had this road falling apart. We had someone give us a check. We have the developer who's still yet to pay us money. that developer really has no incentive to pay us money. I would like for us to initiate a cause for him to have incentive.
Yes.
You're talking about Countryside, Palo Verde?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, again, another one, Jay, where there's still some loose ends on that. We were able to secure a recovery of a significant part of the county's expense from a builder who was building a house at the time. There's another individual who's related to the developer who is also building a house, and that part of the equation has still not been resolved. As far as I know, we still have a stop work order on that particular lot. The gentleman who was building the other house in the subdivision made his peace with us. He brought us a check.
Right, but
Right.
he is still not able to proceed.
No, he has actually already proceeded with that house.
That guy was
Okay.
working the next day.
Yes,
Poured
he's
his
proceeded.
slab and everything, I think.
I
Yes.
thought Mike told me he said no.
He had his plumbing in the ground.
Two different
So he
things.
moved on.
The house, and he has another lot he wants to start. That has not been authorized yet, and that may be what Mike's talking about. There's another lot that he hasn't even started on yet that he wants to start, and we've said, whoa. We need to be on top of precisely what your intentions are with this house. We need to know how many loads of dirt. We need to know when you know how much concrete, so that we can anticipate how to be on top. How we fixed it with him after he paid us for the damage that was caused. We watched very closely. I think I'm on safe ground here saying we watched very closely as he did his concrete pour. We required, and this is off time. I was in the mountains when all this went down. Yeah, we did a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit on his concrete trucks. We knew precisely how many loads. I think it was 14, wasn't it? 14
Well,
we brought in.
and we still went
So-
back out there and had to do some repairs, even after
correct.
we took the concrete trucks up, because out there right now, we just got rock.
Right.
It's all that's in
So
the
that's
right.
what I'm getting at is, where are we at with the developer?
All right, so where we are with the developer is this. He has acknowledged that he is responsible for the wearing surface, which has not yet been installed.
And in order to do the wearing survey, he's got to do the base repair before he can do the wearing survey,
Yes,
right?
presumptively that is correct. Although, if you look at how, this goes all the way back to 2006. Okay, so this is back in the ancient times as far as how we were addressing issues like this. At that time, the only black and white requirement was the wearing surface. Okay, I think in our regulations, we required them to do some base repair before we authorized the installation of the wearing surface. But that was not connected directly to the actual collateral or security. Keep in mind that in that day, the way we handled security for wearing surface was much different than the way we do it today. And that letter of credit has long since, I don't think we ever even had a letter of credit. I think it was a bond. It's long since expired. But he has continued to acknowledge that despite the fact we don't have any security or collateral, he, as developer, is responsible for the wearing surface.
So how do we?
Well, we don't let wearing surfaces go down, Jay, until we have reached the appropriate stage of development activity that makes it make sense.
Right.
There's still a number of lots, potential lots out there that are subject to being developed.
Here's the other
So
thing.
then what's wrong with having him give us a letter of credit for the amount of money that's going to take?
Yeah, I don't know why he would do that if he doesn't intend to further develop the property. The comments that I have received from him is that I don't know what I'm gonna do with any of the rest of this property. I'm just, you know, I gotta sell property to be able to do
Some of the
anything.
property that the developer has, I think he's given it to his family members, his daughter and his son, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's been, Miss Renee's office can tell me, but I don't think it's been done properly as far as the format in which it's been deeded over to someone else, right? So it's large chunks that he's subdivided without coming back here and subdivided, I guess would be the right term, to his daughter or son. The other issue is when he builds his pads out there, which caused all this problem, or added to this problem, you don't have to have permits to build your pads. So they go in and do all the dirt work and all the dirt trucks coming through, and there's no permit process to that, so they can do all that until they start their building process, which begins the permit side, which we regulate. So they were able to do all this stuff and get going. We went out there when we discovered it, we couldn't locate who was doing the work because there was no permits, because they were just doing dirt work side. So there's multiple factors in clearing lots and actually whose property and how it's being built as far as the building regulations go. We've got people's names on lots that hadn't been divided properly. So I think Ms. Renee's office has got to get that not cleaned up, but figured out what we got to do from that end along with Slade. It's got to be a legal house to be built on a property.
Yes.
But he's
First.
the developer.
Correct.
And so he should be needing to put some money in for the final wearing surface.
Yes, sir. And I think he's acknowledged that, but again, it comes down to this point. At what point do we tell our consulting engineer to communicate to the developer that it's time to put the wearing surface down? And if we know that there's the potential, and there is, for 30, 40 more lots to be developed, I don't know why we would want to ask them to do that, unless this board is going to insist that the only way it's going to be
That ties
done.
into what I'm saying.
I think we need to do it
what I'm
before
saying
we
is-
move forward.
You don't know how many lots he's having to build because he has this big chunk of property
That's
that
correct.
he's subdividing that we don't know he's subdividing.
So we have him posted to what we got out there today.
Yeah,
And have him post what the money that's needed to fix what we have today, and he's still on the hook for whatever else
Because
comes down the road.
normally we hit it around that 80% mark. When 80% of the subdivision's done, they
Right.
come in for the
That's
final
correct.
surface area. But we don't know what the 80% number is. 'Cause
Yes.
I don't know how many different areas he's subdivided those lots of the big chunk
Jay,
of property he's got.
When we are approached properly about additional subdividing activity or additional development, we will address at that point the letter of credit requirement. In
So
fact,
you
it would
don't
include.
intend to make him pay for any of this addition, the damage that's going on now?
I intend for whoever is tied to that dirt hauler that is building the other lot to pay this board, to pay Rankin County, the other half of our damage claim. The gentleman on the other side of the road has made his piece. He paid us half of our estimated damage claim. I have already put the other side on notice. There's a stop work order in place. Not one more act or activity is gonna happen on that lot until this damage claim is
And
satisfied.
if this helps,
I just think the
and if this
developer
helps,
should be on the
all right,
hook
but
right now.
the developer
So-
and the builder is almost the same person.
It is.
He's building a house for the developer. You see what I'm saying?
Who is?
So the builder that's there, right? There's two builders you're dealing with.
Right, which
One's
one is
paid,
it?
the other one, Zach Luckett, is building the lot for the developer, which his name is
It's actually the daughter.
right,
It's
his
the daughter.
But still, but,
Clements.
right? Clements is the name. So
So, yeah, I still
So
think the
it's still
developer should
tied
be
in.
on the hook right now.
So the developer has been notified in writing by me, ye shall not do any additional development activity until you have come to us and laid out your development plan. And that conversation, when that happens, that conversation will include how are you gonna protect the existing public roads that have to be accessed to do any additional activity out here.
Well, the thing is, though, this property's been there since the 90s.
Yes, sir.
You know, and he's never put the wearing surface on it now, on what's existing there.
That's correct.
So, I mean, I think over a period of years, you need to go ahead and put a wearing surface on it. 'cause-
Yeah.
Up to that point and then pick up
Yeah.
later.
I mean, it's been 20 years.
Right.
So,
And I'm fine with that. We need to understand that a wearing surface is going to be impacted
It's
by
gonna be torn up,
significant
though,
construction
I
activity.
want him to put the money up for the wearing surface is what's. on
I
that.
understand that, but if you're talking about putting it down, you're not
I'm just
talking
talking
about
about
putting it down.
wanting to get his money up.
Okay.
I'm good with the letter of credit.
Well, what's the letter of credit, what do we do,
Yeah, so what we did in '06 is different.
Okay.
What we could do now, but it needs to be tied to new development proposed, new development activity. We can include at that point, because it'll be under our new development ordinance, all of that, we can include a protection of the existing public road, which right now does not have a wearing surface on it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because
So we'll address all of
he could
that.
just soon not ever develop anything in the
correct.
future,
That's
never
right.
give
Yes.
us any money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
We need it now. I agree with
yeah.
you.
Right. I want a pressure point, and I think we've done a good job of applying as much pressure as we can right now.
Right.
He understands that he is going to have a dickens of a time convincing this board to let him do additional development activity out there without addressing all of this with you.
Yeah.
Okay? So if he sells it, that new developer, I hope, is advised he or she may have a dickens of a time until all of this is addressed. They may want to price that into what they offer to buy the property for, right? Clearly, we're going to require, unless they can show us a construction entrance some other direction, and I don't know if they can or can't, but unless they can provide us with a construction entrance, I don't know why we wouldn't require.
Supposedly there is one, but he won't give them access.
It's across
to it.
him, and he's not willing to grant access, not even to his own daughter.
That's what I don't get. If you have a construction entrance in a platted subdivision, how do you deny access to people who have an easement across there?
He doesn't. It's not currently a construction entrance. It could be if he was willing to allow it to be.
And it's probably not really a working development, would you say?
I agree.
Yeah,
It's
it's been
really
there 20 years.
It's really
sitting
just
there.
property that he
Yeah.
owns or land that he owns that he's subdivided in his mind or.
He don't wanna rut his up coming across.
That's right, yeah.
Probably.
All right, so Slade's so you got your marching orders on that,
I
right?
do. I want us to be, I think we do need to continue to apply pressure, and I want to do that. But right now, my pressure point does not necessarily involve just the developer. I've got to go after the property owner, which is his daughter, and I've got to go after the builder that hired the dirt hauler, which is Mr. Luckett. And I need to be able to put some pressure on the dirt hauler. I mean, that's who caused the damage. And all of those are issues where each of those are pointing fingers back the other direction, saying, go talk to them, they should pay. No, they should pay.
It's like the utility company.
Well, the builder's really responsible, 'cause he hired the
dirt hauler.
Right.
I don't know how you're gonna really blame the dirt hauler.
Yeah, I mean, they just doing what they got paid.
You know, my
to do.
blame would be this. They are the front line that sees that road coming apart. You gotta stop, you gotta call somebody and say, this road is tearing slam
But
up.
to me, that still goes back to the building.
I agree with you. I don't have any issue with that, but the dirt hauler
But this
is the one who sees it.
This is a small problem to fix. If the road starts tearing up and they stop and say, wait a minute, my
Just like the concrete
road's
truck.
tearing up,
Yeah.
let me call Harrison and get this thing, get a plan together. I mean, you're talking about a very cheap,
Or you gonna
inexpensive.
set
everybody's saying,
then what the estimated cost's gonna be, so you're tearing up this portion. Right.
what if I make a motion to put my haul ordinance back in place? I just let it sit and die when I say,
You can do it if you want.
I'll do it just for the fun. So, Monday, Janice is not here. Maybe she's listening at home, laid up drinking her coffee.
I bet she is.
But I can
All right.
put that on the agenda for my haul ordinance on Monday.
Do we have an executive session?
What do you think about that, Bishop?
All right.
Can I put that on the agenda for
I
Monday?
don't.
Why does my calendar say we meet tomorrow?
Not in its current state, anyway.
Who's the
That
next
was
president? When do you
supposed to be
roll
a
off?
work
That was the original work session,
Okay.
but because of you,
All right,
we
good.
felt it was necessary
I'm
to
thinking,
have both.
why back to back?
This
No,
work session.
okay.
Are we doing personnel in executive session today?
Yes.
We're doing what?
Get a little direction.
Yeah.
I mean, we was talking about it, and I agree with what Craig said. Just want the board to think about it, we ain't got to decide today. But, you know, we've got some base repairs that's just naked, and we're getting close to going in the winter. We need to figure out what we're gonna do and how we're gonna patch this road up.
Well, I
Get
mean,
through
I think
winter
we
so we
need
don't
to
have,
do what we're doing.
610?
so we don't lose what's upgrade we got there,
Well, if
you
you
know.
keep 610 on it, was that not take care of it?
You're gonna get moisture in there.
No, you don't get moisture, but it's like we did, the same thing we did that, was it Ehrlich Road? You said keep 610 on it.
Just something for y'all to think about.
Slay, if you had to find that ordinance on platted subdivision hall bonds, could you find it?
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't.
Yes, sir. We've still got the language.
I mean, you know how to find it on your computer. You
Yes,
can
sir.
hit print and have it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll keep it at
Do
the
we need to
ready.
go to executive session?
We are, if I can, just to follow up on what Mike just said, the builder who made his peace with us, by the way, I do want to compliment that gentleman. He was,
Within a week.
within a week, he had acknowledged responsibility and had settled up for what I classified, just by easy math, as his half of the problem.
Good deal.
And he paid it. And as a show of good faith, Mike kind of went over and above to try to help to make sure that he was able to finish out that pad. He has a pad, I'm told, he has a lot that he wants to prepare for his own daughter, for her house. And I am told that he has 2 additional lots left, and he wants to be able to go ahead and proceed to get that lot prepared for his daughter's house. And so he has requested to be accommodated with dirt hauling and eventually with a concrete pad on that lot, given the situation that we're in. The way it went, I don't want to speak for Mike, but my understanding is that with respect to this most recent concrete pour, Mississippi Materials was accommodating of Mike's request to keep the speed down and to communicate well about when they were going to be out there so that we could monitor. And while we did have to do some interim repair work to make sure it wasn't going to come apart again on us, we were able to do that because we had boots on the ground. And so the gentleman has shown that he's willing to go to do what he needs to do to make sure there's good communication. We need direction. Are y'all okay if we tell him he will be permitted to go ahead and prepare this one additional lot for construction using the same approach?
All right, so.
Y'all okay with that?
All right, yeah, let me just,
Go for it.
that's the guy that paid his money.
That's correct.
'Cause- so there's 2 people's daughters getting houses,
That's
right?
correct.
The developer has a daughter and the current builder has, everybody's buying,
One's on one
Everybody's-
road, the other one's on another road.
I got you. Everybody's building houses for their daughters. Take care of your sons every now and then.
Yeah.
Buy some boys and stuff,
Yeah.
but okay, I'm good with that. I just, when you said the daughter, so I was back to the original
I
developer. But
apologize.
you're not. I
Yes,
got
this
you.
is the gentleman who made his
Who's paid
peace
the
with
money,
us.
so
Yes.
I'm good. So,
Unless y'all have serious issues with that, I'm gonna ask Mike, let's go ahead
Get the
and
developer on the hook.
allow that. Yeah. So we'll make sure that there's good communication and we handle it just like the way we did.
All right.
We know who it is.
Where is it, Daniel?
where's that?
This block.
All right, we have a motion discussing the need to go into executive session.
So moved.
Motion by Jared, second by Brad, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. What is our reason?
Personnel.
Have a motion go into executive session for personnel.
So moved.
Jared, second by Brad, all in favor say aye. Ayes have it. We are in executive session.
Hey, Brian, I need to run something by you.